Get ready to record? Okay. And we're recording
For
already.
oh my god, we were recording the whole time.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my. I guess there's only one thing to do now.
Scooter ankle.
Cause baby, now we got bad blood. You know it used to be mad love.
All right, well, that's
So
the end of
take a
the.
look at what you've done.
You're gonna get
Cause
another
baby, now
video
we got
blocked.
bad blood.
You're gonna get another
Hey!
video blocked.
Shit. Do I really sound that much like Taylor Swift?
I don't get the urge to marry you right away, so no.
I'm
Or I guess date, then get dumped real quick. So,
a certified Swiftie if none of you
all right, Nick,
listening
get
already
fucking
knew
into
that.
it.
But yeah, so if you haven't noticed by now, we're talking about Batman Bad Blood today, which is the next movie in our DCAU review, and another Batman solo movie. So fuck yeah, we're right in the prime of it. So
I mean, but is it though? Is it? Is it
I
really?
mean, well, we'll get into it, but I mean, so yeah, Batman Bad Blood, it comes off right off the bat of our last Batman solo movie, Batman versus Robin, which yikes.
Yeah, boo.
And I think this happens like 6 months after is what it is supposedly supposed to take place.
Yeah.
But anyway, well, what do you remember about this movie?
I remember not seeing a lot of Bruce Wayne Batman.
Yeah,
Um,
okay, fair.
two characters I really don't care about,
Yeah,
and then one I wish I would have seen more of, and I was just happy to see a lot of Nightwing in this.
yeah. All right. Well, I mean,
And a cool villain.
yeah, there's definitely a lot of villains because who doesn't love a fuck ton of villains in their movies? But anyway, it starts right off with like the classic news reporter telling you about a situation in the beginning of a movie. We see that many times. But we hear a Black Mask mob member has been kidnapped by a rival gang of high tech criminals, apparently. And then we cut to Electrocutioner, which I know him from, there. I mean, some of the animated. Is he in the animated shows? But I remember him from the video games.
So I feel like he was in he might have been in Static Shock or something.
Yeah, the Arkham video games. And then I saw Firefly, and then I knew Killer Moth for some reason. I knew him. And then I didn't really know any of the other gang members, but I later learned one of them's Tusk. It's a big dude with horns or whatever coming out of his mouth.
Yeah, he's just a big brawler, strong dude.
Yeah,
But he looks like
but
Kilowog from the Green Lanterns.
yeah, he's kind of gross. Not kind of, really gross, but anyway, they're interrogating the mob member they kidnapped from Black Mask, trying to find out where the shipments are of whoever knows what. And then Batman drops in, and we just see a shadow of him, and he's kicking ass. And then we see that it's actually a female Batman or Batwoman. Would you have? And she's using guns, and it's actually it's probably the best fight scene in the movie. I'd say, like right off the rip,
Yeah, that
some of
probably
the
is the better one.
choreography, it's really dope. She's kicking ass, and then the real Batman drops in, and Batwoman's like, I could have handled these C-listers, which kind of pokes fun at us barely knowing half of them.
Yeah, I'm a big DC fan, and there's
Yeah, exactly. I
aside from
mean,
Firefly and the
yeah,
Electrocutioner, I didn't even really notice the other one was Moth. I just thought that was like another Firefly or something, like a
yeah,
goon or
like
something,
baby Firefly,
and then
because we had
discount
baby
Kilowog.
Talon in the
Yeah,
last one.
yeah, discount Kilowog.
But yeah, so and Batman's like, he's like, you can't be wearing the bat symbol. Wearing the bat symbol doesn't make you a hero. It just and using a gun makes you one of them. Classic Batman stuff. And then Batman interrogates Firefly until this random jacked dude in like a knockoff Batman mask. Like he reminds me of Arkham Knight for sure.
Oh yeah.
And he just appears with his like little sidekick. Her name is like Onyx. He's like Onyx, sick him, whatever. But then he just blows the whole place up, and we see Batman go down in the flames, and we're like, oh shit, no, Batman died, no. And then it just, as soon as that happens, it cuts right to Damien at the temple where we kind of see him leave off in BVR when he's climbing the mountains. So he's been here training and all that, but we don't really see much of it because he just instantly he like watches a video of like how Gotham is in shambles now or something, and he's like, okay, I guess I'll go back. And then there's definitely a lot of cutting because there's a lot of characters, so it cuts around to cover all of them.
Yeah, and I will say, like, I do like love these animated movies, but and I do like how they at least attempt to bring in like a bunch of characters, like similar to how Throne of Atlantis was.
Yeah.
Like that's where you get like a whole lot of cuts. So like, especially if we're trying to like review and break down like a plot and stuff for this, it's so hard.
Yeah, I'm gonna try not to be so like
Yeah.
cut here, cut here, cut here. Sound like fucking Victor Zaz with how much cutting is going on. Just thought of that right now. I'm here all episode. You got him. And then we see just Nightwing fighting Blockbuster because Blockbuster's a good throwaway villain for him to just appear and fight while he's on call with Starfire, which we don't see her in the movie, but this is the only place she's pops up in is just this combo. And I don't know if you remember this, but it's so sexual.
I mean,
Like
I
they
don't
are
remember that one.
obsessed.
Yeah.
They're obsessed with Dick and Starfire just talking dirty.
Oh,
Because
she's just obsessed with Dick.
she's like, we're meeting tonight, right? Blah 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 blah. It's been too long. I forgot what you feel like. It's like, bro, kids movie.
Yeah, and like the movie before that too, they were having phone sex or whatever.
I
And it's like,
know.
just keeping your fucking spandex. Like
And it's
shit.
while he's fighting Blockbuster. Like, do you want to fight Blockbuster with a dick in your pants while your name's Dick?
I mean, I
With a
guess
fucking,
like I don't know.
yeah,
Maybe Blockbuster won't want to get near you.
the boner. Yeah, I just poke him with the boner in the eye. It's like Nightwing. All right. But then he gets interrupted by Alfred, so Nightwing has to cancel plans with Starfire, and that's all we see of her. And this is like to lead up to where Bruce is missing because Alfred is like using tech to pretend he's Bruce. It's like kind of like a face app, Snapchat filter type thing.
Yeah.
And he's talking to the board of directors at Wayne Tower, pretending he's Bruce Wayne, that he's away on some trip. But in reality, Bruce has been missing for 2 weeks ever since we saw, us as an audience, we saw him go down in the flames, but they don't know that, and they just think he's been missing for 2 weeks, and they're like, well, he leaves sometimes, but usually never without not telling me at least a hint, Alfred says.
Yeah, so they kind of
So
like already
they're
see that
like
something's
they're
wrong.
like
Yeah.
concerned, but not at the same time.
Yeah, it's a little bit out of the norm for Batman to disappear for this long without at least kind of checking in. But
Right.
then again, he is Batman, so they're not too worried yet at this point.
Yeah. And back at Wayne Tower, we see Lucius Fox, which everyone knows him from Morgan Freeman in the Christian Bale
Nolanverse.
movies. Yeah. So that's where his character comes famous. So probably you guys listening already know who Lucius Fox is, and if you don't, he's just a really smart guy that works at Wayne Tower that Batman gets all his tech from. He's not always in the Batman, like certain Batman stories, but when he is, that's what he stands for. But he has a son in this one, and his name is Luke. And we learn Luke has been like, they've been trying to hire Luke at Wayne Tower because he's wicked smart or something, but he decided to join the army instead because he just wanted to make his own path rather than following his dad. And then we get another, father daughter. I mean, father son, and then we cut to a father daughter. They're having dinner at a diner, and they're just talking about the explosion or whatever. And it seems like he knows like what Kate is up to, and they're just
Yeah.
kind of talking about it because he's like a cop. So it's weird she's that open about it, but
Her name is Kate Bishop, right?
Kate Kane.
Kate Kane. Okay, I don't know where I thought of Bishop, but
Wait,
yeah,
Kate Bishop is it? Yeah,
that's somebody somewhere. Shout out Kate.
yeah. I think that's the Hawkeye girl.
Oh, well, maybe not shout out then.
But yeah, Hawkeye's in this movie, and but no, Kate Kane. Yeah, her and her father just talking about how she thinks Batman died in the explosion. I mean, she was there. She thought. I mean, she thought she knew what she saw, and then they just see the bat signal, and they're like, "Oh shit, I gotta go." And like it cuts to Black Mask and his gang fighting, Batman, quote unquote. We see Batman fighting him, and in a new suit, it's with the yellow symbol. And we quickly learn that it's Dick. I mean, which most of us would know that he took up the mantle. Because they never want the villains to know that Batman, is dead or missing.
Yeah, they always want like Batman's presence around, and
Right.
uh, Nightwing is kind of like at this point like a similar build and has like this. He's able to compete.
Yeah.
You can notice like at least as a comic fan, and from watching these movies, I was able my first viewing to notice that it wasn't Bruce Wayne,
Yeah.
just on like the fighting style and how agile he was, like using a lot of acrobatics and stuff, and but
But
which has
yeah, I
definitely
mean,
happened a lot. Like most notable, I'd say would be Black Mirror,
yeah, right. I
comic
mean, it happens a
storyline.
lot. He
Yeah,
takes over the mantle a lot. He's definitely next in line.
he doesn't want to be, but I mean he's the
Yeah,
first one that
he
kind of takes it over. Yeah,
understands. But anyway, Black Mask is fucking awesome. He is not in this show movie a lot, but he's done so well automatically. Like just the way he acts and the voice acting and how he looks, it's so cool. And Damien shows up and like throws a fucking bomb at him or something, and it just fucks him up, and his mask is all bleedy in his face. Kind of disgusting. That's all we see of him. And then Damien tells Dick he can't be Batman without his help. It's like you can't just be Batman. You like I need to help you because Damien thinks he's the shit.
yeah. Wasn't that the point too where when Nightwing was trying to like intimidate the bad guys or question them, and Robin was just like, "That's really your best Batman impression."
Right. And they're being like after the whole battle, they're being followed by Kate, and they know that obviously. And then they just pull over and talk to her, and she knows it's not actually Batman because she thinks she saw him die, and then she assumed that it was Nightwing. So we kind of learned, she's not an idiot. And then Damien's like, I don't trust this Kate girl, and Dick is like, oh, but you trust Talon. So kind of a nice callback to the last episode.
Yeah, I mean, at least me, I never really cared for Batwoman that much.
I like her. I mean, I was gonna mention like this. I mean, this proves that Batwoman is a cool character
Yeah, I
when they
like this
want her to be,
iteration. I like
other
this
than the
iteration of her.
CW show.
No,
Like, because
no.
everyone hates the CW show, obviously, but it's not Batwoman's fault as a character.
Same
It
thing
could
it
be
always is
cool
with the CW. It's the writing.
because this really is like a Batwoman movie. She's probably the main character.
She definitely it'd be a toss up between her and Nightwing, but those two definitely have the most screen time.
Right. And she's like, well, just because I wear the bat symbol doesn't mean I'm in your call. It's like, well, why'd you wear it in the first place? And Damien tells Dick he thinks he's happy that like Bruce is dead. And Dick is like, bro, what? I like Damien thinks he's happy because he gets to be Batman now.
Yeah.
And if you know who Dick is and know like Nightwing, like he like flips out and he's like, "Bro, what? I've been trying to escape the shadow of the bat. Like I try to go away to Bloodhaven and be my own hero and
Yeah.
get away from all that."
He wants to be his own individual, and he, again, in comics and like in this and also a lot of comics,
Yeah,
he does take up the mantle, but that's really when there's no other way, and he doesn't
right.
like it because he doesn't want to turn out like
No,
Bruce. But
right. They don't have the
he'll
best relationship.
yeah, but he'll always help out. That's the thing. Like he knows
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
necessary, but it's not like, yeah, Damian wants to be
That's why.
Batman, and he kind of
Yeah,
sees that Dick's taking over the role, and Dick's just like, no, he's like, this just has to be done, and like obviously you can't look like Batman, so
yeah.
until we get him back, then this is, or find out what happened, like this is
Right.
what has to be done.
But this is why Nightwing is such. He's one of the best comic book characters. Period. I'll say it. They've just perfected like his storyline by now, and it's just his attitude and his personality.
Yeah, I think that he's definitely like the most sane, and like after all the events of being a superhero, he's the
Oh, for
most
sure.
likely one to be able to lead a yeah, have a normal life after the whole thing. Like he'd have
Right.
no problem dropping like the Nightwing mantle or anything and just being Dick Grayson.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He's just a good human. He's probably one of the best like people. You know what I mean? Like in comics,
Oh yeah, but
there's no ounce of evil in him at all.
yeah, no, actually, I'm
And
just trying to think. I'm like, there's nothing I can think where he even remotely like hesitated, doing something dark.
he is so dope. And but yeah, Alfred Ford's like, Batman obviously already knew who Batwoman was because like we shouldn't be surprised about that. And Alfred sends them the file on her, and then we learn. I mean, they learn that it's Kate Kane, and Dick already knew who Kate was. He didn't know Kate was Batwoman, but he's like, "Oh, Kate, I know her," and so we know there's a past there. But and then we cut to the gang, the high tech gang is I guess what they wanted to call them. And we learn that the Arkham Knight guy, his name is the Heretic, which
Yeah,
average name at best.
average name, but I really love the
Weird
character
pun.
design.
Yeah, he looks cool. The mask is cool.
The mask is cool. I like the
Maybe
armor. I like the cut off duster or
I
the
don't know
sleeveless
how I feel
duster.
about the sleeveless duster. I don't know how I feel about it, but
Oh, I like it. I think with the little armor poking out on his
yeah.
shoulders, it looks badass.
But we learned he's the head of the new gang, and he's the reason they're all together. And then we pick back up with Luke and Lucius, and Luke comes in on Lucius working on a bat suit on a like a two-way computer screen, so Luke can clearly see it. Lucius isn't being very smart about it because Luke doesn't know Lucius makes stuff for Batman.
Yeah,
And then Luke tells Lucius he like, yo, I know Batman and Wayne Tower have a connection. Like I'm not stupid. And if I had to guess, I would guess that you make his stuff for him. It's like, well, yeah, you're not wrong.
yeah.
And it's weird Lucius wouldn't trust him with that. I mean, Lucius is so loyal. So I mean, I guess, but
Well, I mean, he would. I think he does, or he would be able to trust his son.
right.
It's just he was told not to tell anyone, so he's gonna respect,
Yeah, yeah.
Batman's wishes. So
But and then the high tech gang and like heretics show up and they just beat the fuck out of Luke and Lucius and they interrogate Lucius about the vault we hear. And right off the rip, you're led to assume that it's like where all the Batman stuff is, because that's what Luke and Lucius were just talking about. But Luke picks up a knife and he goes off for like a quick second
yeah,
to
like
kind of like, yeah,
he definitely has like combat experience, and
right. So you're like, oh, okay, he can be a hero. They're definitely going down that way until he gets his ass kicked by Heretic
yeah,
pretty quickly.
and that's also like one of the
And
common tropes in just a lot of superhero things. Like if there's a character you want to introduce either in that movie or later
Yeah,
things, the quickest way to show that they could be a hero is have them fight a few goons and like hold their own for at
right.
least a little bit.
And so Luke obviously got himself in this situation where now he's being like held knife point at his neck, and Lucius is like, "Okay, fam, you win. I'll let you into the vault." And then the whole wall just opens like behind his office, and it's just a massive room full of Batman tech and like Wayne tech. And then Heretic just stabs Lucius in the stomach. I I didn't remember that part in the first time I watched it, or from the first time I watched it, so I like dead ass thought he was dead now.
Yeah, that
And
I definitely thought the same thing. Especially like it's been a
it
little
was
while
a
since I've seen it,
pretty,
and it was yeah. I was like, oh
you know
wow,
what,
they're
fuck
really
it.
killing off Lucius Fox right now. Like,
I mean, yeah, so like obviously now I just let you know that he survives this, but I think they should have killed him. It would have gave Luke more of a reason to become a hero that he picks up later,
yeah,
and it would have
if
just been something different.
I mean, we don't
And did
see
they even
Lucius. We don't see Lucius again.
in the rest of the universe, right?
Yeah, I don't
So
believe
like
we do.
whatever, yeah. And then Dick and Damien show up into the vault, which who knows how they knew they were there. And Heretic sees that Dick is wearing, the Batman costume, and he was the one that quote unquote killed Batman. So he knows that this isn't actually Batman. So he's like, "You're an imposter. You shouldn't be wearing the mantle of the Bat." Blah blah blah. As Heretic as himself, he's wearing the helmet. It's like, bro, what? And and then the Heretic kills Electrocutioner because Electrocutioner is like fighting Damien, and he gets him pinned down and is just electrocuting the fuck out of Damien because that's what the Electrocutioner does, is electrocute people. Who knew
Yeah,
that?
he was trying to. If I remember, he was trying
Yeah,
to kill. The Electrocutioner was trying to kill Damien, and
yeah.
Heretic
And
was telling him to
Heretic's like,
stop. Yeah,
yeah, and he doesn't, and then Heretic just like kills him.
yeah. He throws a knife at the back of his neck.
Right. It's pretty savage. Kids movie, by the way. And then we just cut to Bruce in bed with three girls. It's like, okay, get it, fam. And one of them is wearing his mom's pearls, and obviously he freaks out. But then he just snaps out of it, or snaps into it, who knows, and has a vision of like, the night his parents died. We get to see the classic alley scene yet again.
Well, that's like the third or fourth movie in a row
Right,
where we've seen
right.
that same scene.
And then he just kneels into the puddle or whatever. But and then the puddle turns into like a fucking ocean or something, and he gets pulled down into it by his parents. Like, they're not zombies, but they act like zombies, but they don't look like zombies. They look normal. And then Dick and Damien also, they're all pulling him down into the water. And then it cuts to Bruce. We see his actual body and what he's actually doing, because obviously that was all nightmare stuff. And we see Bruce upside down, like spread eagle, like hooked up to this weird machine. And we see Mad Hatter is working on him, which is so cool. I love Mad Hatter. He's definitely underused.
Yeah, I mean, he was kind of Bruce was kind of set up like almost like the Vitruvian Man. That
Right.
diagram, yeah. And I wanted to ask you, like,
Oh, right.
what do you think about like the significance of like? Because I thought that scene, that like quick like nightmare scene, was like very
Right.
significant just to
Oh,
Bruce as a
for sure.
character.
It just
Because
shows this like psyche.
yeah, it showed like all these. It like almost psyched him out in a way where I saw it as like at times like him trying to look after everyone like weighs him down, and he
Yeah.
can't quite just reach the surface and find peace. But
Right. Yeah, he's weighed down by all the trauma.
trauma and all the attachments that he made because he feels like he can't let anybody down
Right.
after developing a strong connection with all of them. I mean, that's the
I
way I
mean,
saw it. So
yeah, Batman's mind and the the whys, like the whys of how Batman works, is it's fascinating. It's like truly, it's more than like it's not just any comic book character. He's like it's relevant to like real life, and it's just fascinating. It's important to how we learn that people how people work.
Yeah.
Like I'm kind of rambling right now. I can't find the words to
No,
explain it,
I mean
but
I at least understand what you're saying. Hopefully other people do too. But
yeah. I mean, I'm an idiot,
hey,
so
at
I
the end of
wouldn't
the
be
day,
surprised, but
with all the shit he's been through, he should be in Arkham.
right. Or like killing people, but he's doing good stuff and blah blah blah. But Mad Hatter is like obviously trying to crack into Batman's brain, and he's not having an easy time. And he's fascinated by like how dense it is and the fortitude of it. He's not mad. He actually loves the challenge. He's like fucking like getting kind of steezed about it. And then I also didn't remember this part, but Talia shows up. I was like, oh shit, fam. And we learn she's actually the main leader and Heretic isn't. And Heretic tells her how he saved Damien, and he's like, be proud of me, I saved him. This is so cool. And he wants to bring Damien back to her. So that was cool. I like
Yeah, I mean,
it's cool that I got to see this movie again pretty much for the first time. Like it felt like the first time.
yeah, they throw a lot of stuff at you. I mean, they throw a bunch of just kind of C-lister rogues at you, and
Right.
then you have the heretic. It's like, oh, he's the big bad. Then you see the Mad Hatter. It's
And
like, oh, he's the big bad. Then you find out that it's really Talia al Ghul, like
yeah. And
orchestrating
I
all
did
this.
I did know who Heretic was because I just remember from the first time. But I totally forgot about Talia coming in. And we'll get about who Heretic actually is later. And then it cuts to Lucius in the hospital with Luke. And this is where I was like, oh, he didn't die. And Dick confronts Luke. Dick is there to comfort Luke. And Luke is obviously not happy about the situation. And he wants to help fight the people that hurt his dad. And, like, he wanted to be a part of this. He's a former army dude and he wants to join the fight. So we're like, oh shit, okay, so this is where he's gonna become the villain or hero or a hero.
Yeah,
And then we see Kate in a nightclub on a date, and we see that it's a detective, and because she sees the gun or whatever, and they're just talking, and then Dick is outside across on a rooftop, and he sees her or whatever, and he texts her, and Kate just gets a text from an unknown number, no, thinking it's Batman or whatever. And we learn that the detective is Renee Montoya, which she's a classic detective in the DC universe. She's in like the Birds of Prey movie most recently. She's just in a bunch of stuff. Whenever there's a cop, pretty much she's there.
yeah, especially in the like Gotham area. Whenever it's like she
Right.
deals with, I'd say, lower level things. I mean, you have Jim Gordon and the GCPD on top, and then
Right.
like for lower stuff, more stuff where you don't need Batman, she usually takes point on a lot of those cases.
Yeah. And she's a dope character, but that's pretty much all we see from her. And so Batwoman goes out and meets, Batman. It's obviously Dick, and they're meeting on the rooftop. And Dick reveals, his identity to her, and they're like, "Oh shit, fam, I know you. I remember you." And then we cut real quick to Damien getting healed by Alfred or whatever because he got fucked up by electrocutioner. And Damien is being a bitch yet again. Like, what was the point of staying 6 months in the temple, like, just to be a bitch again? Like,
Well, he
I
went there to go
thought,
find himself, and he just kind of
and
went
I
there,
and I
found
thought
out
in
he
the
was bitch
last
made.
movie, he like was happy with Bruce and who he was. Then he's like, but and then like he just says like Bruce and you, Alfred, like you guys aren't my fathers. Like, it's like what the fuck? But he always calls him father, and
Yeah,
he does
he
later in the movie. He's like, father, no, or whatever.
again like
And then here he's like, you're not my father's.
yeah, I don't know. Damien, again, like we had to
Yeah,
suffer through him for one movie,
yeah, you
and
know how we
then
feel about him.
yeah, And then you'd expect him to get some sort of like kind of redeeming or at least like change a little bit after
Yeah.
spending all this time in the temple. But I get, yeah, I mean, he went there to go find himself, and I guess he's just
Mhm.
like, no, I'm cool. I like who I am, but I can't stand it. I don't like how hard headed he is, and there's really no
It's
redeeming
so
fact.
frustrating.
There's really no redeeming part to the character, I will say.
No, he just doesn't like. Why can't he just understand? But anyway, we cut back to Dick and Kate. They're talking about her, and we get like her backstory from her perspective. And we kind of learn how her, I mean, we learned this earlier, but she tells it now that her like family died, or her mother and her sister at least. And she's obviously, she got fucked up from that. And she's just angry at the world. And then one random night, she gets mugged by a group of guys, and Batman comes in and saves her. And he fucks them up. It was another cool fight scene. It's probably my second. He just comes in and fights these thugs and absolutely destroys them. I just love watching Batman kick ass on a bunch of random dudes.
Yeah, just like low level street thugs,
Yeah,
because he always
and he
he always
goes,
goes a little extra on them.
yeah, like it's so brutal. You feel the punches in this. It's great. But he goes to help Kate up, and she just slaps his hand out of the way and stands up right in front of him. And he's like, I love Batman, and especially for this reason. He's just like, "You're welcome," like in a sarcastic tone. He's like, "Well, fuck you. You're welcome." And he just walks right like by her and like kind of bumps her out of the way by walking through her. Batman's such a G. And so apparently that moment was significant to Kate because she vowed to like never have to rely on anyone else to save her because she wishes she could have saved her sister and her mom, and she doesn't want to be that kind of person. She wants to be able to protect
Yeah, or even her,
everyone and the people she loves.
yeah, or even save herself in that alley.
Right. And then we cut to Damien being attacked by a heretic in the Batcave because Damien, is all injured, but he tried to sneak away. He put on the Robin costume. And then Heretic shows up at the Batcave and tranquilizes him, and Damien's already injured as is. So that doesn't last too long. Heretic takes him. And then we see cut back. We see Kate and Dick yet again. Still, so they're talking about this conversation that we're cutting back and forth between Damien. And they're just talking about Bruce's masks and like what it means to be Bruce Wayne and what it means to be Batman, and like how Bruce's trauma like resembles who he is, or like why he does the thing he is, and what it was like for Dick to be raised by Bruce. And it was probably one of the most touching, or like you really feel this. And Dick is like, being raised by Bruce Wayne isn't easy. Like it was lonely.
Yeah, and I mean, he really took like Bruce really took like crime fighting first, and then like because it was one of those things where like yeah, like I'll take in
Right.
this orphan kid, Dick
And help
Grayson,
him.
and help him like But then as far as like he was a good like mentor as far as like crime fighting and stuff, but
Yeah. I don't
that
think
was
he
all Bruce's
realized.
that was all Bruce's life, so or that's
Right.
what he prioritized. So like I bet in the downtime where it was just Dick Grayson trying to be himself, he really had no one except for Alfred. That's about it.
Yeah. Like Batman, like Bruce wasn't there for,
He wasn't.
emotional stuff.
Yeah, he
He
wasn't
was
there for
only there
emotional
for
stuff.
like
Or
business.
yeah, he wasn't there
And
for the little things.
yeah, I don't think Bruce realized how much of a father figure he was to him. And we see that there's a lot of this in this movie, is like just like the relationships between, a an adult figure and like the kid or whatever.
Yeah, it's a lot of
And
father and child. Like
right. Well,
see
I
where
guess
they
yeah,
kind
it
of
is
what
mostly
they grew up
father.
to be. Yeah,
And So cut back to Luke getting. I mean, apparently Luke figured it out and went right back to the vault. And he gets suited up in his Batman suit that we see Lucius working on earlier. It's kind of like a Batman Beyond prototype,
That I
but
was gonna say the same thing. I love it.
right,
It looks awesome. Definitely heavy inspirations from Terry McGinnis's Batman
yeah,
Beyond
and
suit.
the way he gets suited up, it's so like straight out of Iron Man.
Oh yeah, having
Like
each like piece assemble on his body.
yeah, and you see all the gears turning. It's like straight out of Iron Man. It's funny.
I love it. I mean,
No,
I
I
don't
did
know
too.
too much about the character of Batwing, but I
Yeah,
love the
I
design.
mean,
I think it's
neither do
awesome.
I. He was new at this point, so I mean, he was in the comics before this, but they just put him straight into this. But right now, I know he's not a big character. I think he kind of died away pretty fast. He never really panned out.
Yeah, they
But
couldn't really come up with too many great storylines for him. He was better
I
off
mean,
as a
there's
side
only so
character.
many. I don't know. There's always so many Bat family members that you need, and Dick gets called by Alfred, letting him know that Damien is gone, and dun, dun. And then it cuts to Damien being tied up by Heretic, as we knew that's where he was going to end up. And Mad Hatter is there, so it's in the same room as his dad. And then Heretic just unmasks himself, and you don't recognize him right away until he's like, "I'm you, Damien, from the future," or like,
No, he's him all
"I'm a
grown up.
clone."
Yeah, he's a clone, but
Yeah.
like,
Oh, grown up.
yeah,
Yeah.
he was a grown up clone of Damien, who just
Yeah.
accelerated in age more.
Right. Because he was created by Raish to like make a super soldier army.
Yeah,
Because
and there
apparently
was,
that's all Raish
well, yeah, Raish always
is
looked to
ever
make a
interested in.
hit, like fulfill his vision of the world, but
Yeah, because
Heretic was the,
we get the man bats from the first one,
yep,
and then now we learn that Raish tried to clone Damien.
yeah, and there was a bunch of failed attempts, but Heretic was the
Yeah,
closest
yeah, the
perfection,
closest.
but he was just missing a soul, which is what he was trying
Right.
to steal from Damien.
Yeah, and he's trying to have Mad Hatter like give him the like consciousness of Damien.
Yeah, like all the memories that Damien had, Heretic's trying to put
Right.
into his own head,
Yeah.
which I thought was a
And
cool concept. I like that.
no, it is. It's always like it makes me feel so bad always just to put myself in those shoes because it's kind of like a Homelander situation too, and like you feel bad for him definitely. It's like how like his existence was created out of a bottle and like, but at the same time he feels just as human as anyone else.
He does, but he doesn't have a purpose, and he doesn't have like all the same memories that Damien
Right.
has.
So you can only imagine how fucked up that is.
Yeah,
But anyway, Talia barges in, and she is totally not down for this. And I mean, Damien, the heretic, I'll just call him heretic, but he freaks out and he's like, "Well, I like love you too. I'm also your son. I know I'm a clone, but I still want like your love." And that's why I say it's a lot like Homelander. And he gets on his knees and hugs Talia and begs her to like just love him and like to allow him to be her son and whatever. And Talia just puts a gun up to his head and just caps him. Like it is brutal.
yeah, that is.
Talia is
It was like like for Heretic, we got like 30 seconds of him showing some sort of like
yeah,
other than just a a borderline thug persona.
just
We
yeah,
got to see some
regular.
emotion in like 30 seconds, and then it was just ended. I'm like, oh, that shit was actually kind of
Which
sad.
I love when that happened. I mean, yeah, it was dope. It sounds bad that I'm saying that's dope, but I just love when they subvert expectations like that and just cap off these people that they build up this long time. And
Yeah,
then it cuts to Onyx, his like sidekick, and she doesn't look too happy about it, but that's just kind of a foreshadowing thing.
yeah, and Onyx. I mean, I don't know anything about her in the comics, but in this
Yeah,
iteration,
don't
she's
either.
just kind of like, uh, just a samurai henchman.
Yeah, she's
No
just
really
this.
development, just she's just a
Yeah, right.
woman with a sword. So
Yeah, she's just there to be there. And it cuts to Dick and Kate pulling up to this location where Talia is and keeping Batman and all them. And it's like a religious compound of sorts. It's like a church blockaded off church area, but there's like a lot of buildings. It's like a nun, sanctuary or something. And we
yeah,
just see a
monastery or
bunch of
whatever the hell.
nuns. Yeah, we see a bunch of nuns like flooding the area and like going up all on the walls and like getting ready to like defend.
Yeah, they have guns and samurai swords and
Yeah. And Dick calls them nunjas because we need a pun like that in our lives.
I'll take it. I appreciate it.
And Kate says how much she hates like how Dick made her use rubber bullets. I mean, I just put that in there just because they're always so concerned about killing, so they're like, because they know fans would have been like, well, Kate's just killing all these nuns and Dick's okay with it, but they needed to throw that in there
See, I
to
missed that line. Like, I actually thought she was still using guns because they still have like the muzzle flash and stuff. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, she's just
yeah, she's
killing
like, I
these.
can't believe you talked me into using rubber bullets or something. And then Firefly shows up, and then this is where we see Batwing, which is the name of the Luke Fox Bat hero character. And his whole thing is he flies. I mean, it's pretty much like an Iron Man and Batman Beyond type situation.
Yeah, I mean, yep. I like the combat in this scene between all the characters. It's to the point like now we're in, especially with these animated movies, where you have to have a big brawl with multiple characters, and you cut around, see each person taking on a different group of foes, and yeah, get Batwing flying around, taking out Firefly and Moth, right?
Yeah, Killer Moth.
Killer Moth. Yep.
So yeah, that I mean that's where we learn, or that's like why we get these fly villains, so that our fly hero can fight the fly villains, because obviously they can't fight anyone else. And yeah, and Talia and her gang like kind of like blow the place up and are prepared to just leave Bruce and Damian there. And we see Batwing versus Killer Moth yet again, and like they're just showcasing Batwing's skill set and tech. And Damian breaks free of like his restraints and releases Bruce. And Bruce seems conscious, like he's dazed, but he's at least like visibly responsive, so like you can see him, like his eyes and stuff. And
Yeah, he's
Damian
still
just
kind of weird.
slaps the fuck out of him. He just slaps the fuck out of him until he snaps out of it. And of course it works. And then there's just this whole fighting scene where we see Kate versus Onyx, and then Luke versus Killer Moth and Firefly. And then we see Dick taking on like, I don't think I ever confirmed who this character was, but I think it's maybe Bronze Tiger. I don't know if you want to look that up. I mean, I remember in the Son of Batman movie reaction, I talked about how the big guy was Bronze Tiger,
Yeah,
or like might be,
I think that was
but I
Bronze Tiger in the other movie.
another one.
I think this was just another
Well, he
henchman
just had the
for.
gauntlet like it, but in this one he like I don't know. I was gonna look that up, but I totally forgot.
It might have just been a mantle they passed down or something like that. Who
Yeah.
fucking knows? There's so many villains in this that like one villain you're gonna see for like 10 seconds doesn't really matter.
Right. Well, touching on that, Dick versus Bronze Tiger takes like to 10 seconds, and Bronze Tiger does all these flips until a piece of the ceiling just falls and crushes him. And then we see Kate and Onyx fighting, and then we see Onyx fall off a cliff into because like this compound's right on the cliff, and then she falls off to her death, and then Dick comes and helps Damien get Bruce out, and they all fall off the cliff too. And then we see Batwing save them because we need Batwing to have
A little
more
more to do, yeah,
responsibility.
just a little more to
Yeah,
do.
And Bruce says how he doesn't need, like, they save him, and then Bruce is instantly like, yo, who the fuck are you guys? Why are you here? We don't need you. Like, we see how closed off he is and how, like, keep it in the family he is. Like, it's just us. And it cuts to a week in the future. Bruce is recovering. And Bruce is talking about how he has to attend this gala or this like event where all these high level people are.
Yeah.
And then Bruce is like mad at Nightwing for letting like Kate and Luke into their circle.
Yeah,
And
he
Bruce
sees them as
tells Dick,
outsiders, and yeah, he's all upset about
yeah,
kind of revealing his identity, or yeah, all their identities basically to these what he sees as outsiders. So
right. And Dick is like, well, I think they should be. Like they earn their right. And Bruce is like, well, you're not Batman anymore, are you? Like you don't call the shots now. I do. And like Bruce is just being super harsh and like we understand he went through a lot of stuff, but
yeah,
he's
he's going
just
a
being
little
a
too.
straight up
Yeah,
dick.
he's going
No
way
pun
too.
intended.
He's going way too aggressive at Damien and Dick. Like
Right.
they were just trying to help, and he's just not hearing it. Not even thankful that he was saved. Just yeah,
And then so we see Dick call Kate because obviously they're still in connection. And he's like, you should probably just lay low. Like Batman doesn't like the idea of you joining. And she seems understandable or reasonable with it. And then her dad walks into the room and tries to kill her with a gun. And they fight. It's like, what the hell is happening? And then she eventually knocks him out with a frying pan. And we cut to Bruce at the gala that he was talking about earlier. And we see the high tech gang, like, Mad Hatter and Tusk and whatnot, infiltrate the event. And they're kind of like in the sub levels. And then we hear Bruce say, like, the whole point of the event is to reveal the Watchtower initiative, which, if you're a DC fan, you're like, it gets you pretty hyped because the Watchtower means the Justice League, and it's like
yeah.
the
But
Justice League's.
he was doing this as Bruce Wayne, or
Yeah,
so.
so he's Bruce because it's a Wayne Tech type thing. So he's at this event revealing, like, there's this Watchtower, revealing new tech at like a Wayne conference.
Okay. See, I missed that part, and also I don't really agree with that because normally
Right.
Batman would have no attachment between like any superhero, like or any Justice League affiliation
Well, I don't think
with
it's
his money.
supposed to be Justice League initially. Well,
Okay,
yeah,
but
they
it's just
don't
a
mention anything like
watchtower.
that. The
Okay,
Watchtower is just supposed to be this new technology to protect everyone.
okay, because when I hear watchtower, especially in a movie like this, I immediately go to default as the space headquarters for the Justice League.
Right.
So
Well, and it looks like that. And I think that that's what it's gonna be in the future. I can't remember how much they follow through on that, but anyway, yeah, we see Mad Hatter and Tusk breaking into the tech room and hacking into the system, doing some Mad Hatter stuff. And it cuts to Kate talking to Dick and Damien about like what happened to her father, and she was saying how her father snapped out of it and like that she realized he was brainwashed or programmed to do it. And then we realize that Bruce isn't okay and all there. Like we realize that he actually could be still brainwashed and Mad Hatter actually finished what he was meant to do. And then we realize Talia is trying to brainwash him so that he can get like show that she can get the whole world to become like the League of Shadows or be under her control.
yeah, so
Because there's a whole bunch of high level people here, like leaders of countries
yeah,
at this event.
I was just gonna say, I wasn't sure if you were gonna go over that, but yeah, it's a
Yeah,
bunch
yeah.
of high like
So
society people on this, wealthy
right.
people.
So she was trying to brainwash all of them so that, League of Shadows could have influence everywhere. And then they're flying, and then Kate, the whole Bat family's flying to the Watchtower because they know what's happening. And Kate makes fun of Batwing because they're all riding in the Batwing as Batwing's flying beside them. And Kate's like, "Whoa, look, do you want to ride in the Batwing, Batwing?" Kind of making fun of at him
Yeah.
for stealing the name. And then they break all into the watchtower by like jumping from the plane, like landing in like war zone. And Firefly sees them, and Talia gives like brain controlled Bruce the bat suit, and then Batwing obviously goes to fight Firefly yet again because we need all of our Fly villains to fight the heroes.
Oh yeah. I mean, if they weren't all flying, then how would they even stand a chance?
I know. And Talia tells Damien he needs to join her or die, which is like, I was caught off guard how Talia was acting because I feel like in Son of Batman she was pretty reasonable. Like she wasn't a full on villain, but here she is like crazy. Like she's willing to kill Damien, like just because he's not gonna join her. And in the first movie, she's like, I mean, it's like a mother
Yeah,
and son should be.
it seemed like she actually cared about him. Like she sent him to Bruce so that he'd, be taken care of. Now she just kind of snapped and just more power hungry and just relentless. So
So yeah, Mad Hatter's brainwashing all the rich and influential people, and Damien is fighting Tusk, and Kate is fighting Talia because we need our girls to fight our girls. And then Damien always fights the big guy.
which yeah, I
I,
never really understood. I mean,
I don't know if it's just to show that he can like keep up with these high level guys, but Tusk is not a high level guy, he's just a big dude.
yeah, like none of
And
Damien's
then
attacks should even affect him.
Batman fights Nightwing. I mean, as should be. And it is such an even fight, which is so cool. It shows like how evenly matched they are until Batman does get the upper hand and dislocates Nightwing's arm.
Yeah, which I always
And
hate. I do hate seeing those two fight just because I don't know, it always makes me feel
yeah,
sad. Because it's
it
always
is
Batman that's like
it's
brainwashed. It's never Dick,
yeah,
and
that's
Dick's just
true.
trying to like, get him to like stop or like calm down, and then
Yeah, yeah.
Nightwing gets a few good hits, and then Batman always like has to like break an
Oh
arm
yeah,
or
because
something, or
Batman's
just
Batman.
well, yeah, exactly. Like that's how it would go. But at the same time,
Yeah,
I wish feel bad because like Dick's probably had to do this like over 10 times in like his whole
yeah,
character creation.
right. And yeah, so the watchtower starts to fly into the city because it's not being controlled or for some reason I don't really know. But and Alfred's at this event, but he's not affected by the brainwashing, and which I also didn't know why. Like, why isn't he? But
Yeah,
he finds where they're hacking into the place, and then it cuts to Damien and Tusk fighting, and Tusk is about to fall, and Damien tries to save him, and he's like, "Justice, not vengeance." So you know he's trying to be good, but and then earlier he's like, there's just so much contradictory stuff about his character. And then we cut to Kate versus Talia, and they're also evenly matched, and the choreography of their fight is really cool, especially with the gunplay, because Talia has a gun and the way they have them fight.
yeah, trying to move. How Kate's maneuvering the gun around so she's not getting shot.
Right.
But I will say,
And
you did skip over something with the whole Damien and Tusk thing,
yeah.
where he's trying to pull up Tusk and he's saying, "Justice, not vengeance," and then he's like pulling up the line even more,
Oh,
and then he
you're
sees
right.
that's cut off, and yeah, Tusk kind of just fell into some gears down below or got caught. So
Yeah, yeah,
Damien
yeah. You're
tried to
right.
save him, but yeah, Tusk still died. So no more
Yeah,
Tusk.
I did say it. I did forget that. You're right. But yeah, Tusk Boy died, so oh no. But yeah, so and then we see Alfred go into the room where they were hacking into. And I mean, I haven't mentioned him up till now, but there was like one of the characters was the calculator. He's just a nerd. He's honestly the Mad Hatter, but just not the Mad Hatter, and
Yeah,
just
he's
more of a
like not.
nerd.
Yeah, nothing really to pay attention about with him.
And Alfred beats the fuck out of him hand to hand. Like we see Alfred like actually go ham, and like kind of see that special intelligence fighting experience.
Yeah, he was MI6 or something like that.
Mm. And he like knocks the calculator into the computers, and like calculator gets all like electrocuted, and then the electrical current goes into Mad Hatter's like uh into his body because he's connected to the system.
Yeah, he's got it
And
like
then
strapped to his head.
Mad Hatter's head just explodes. So no more Mad Hatter, even though Mad Hatter's a really good character and they could have probably done more with him, but and then we see Batwing and Damien redirecting the Watchtower from the city and saving them, blah blah blah. And then we finally get back to Nightwing fighting Batman, but now Nightwing's arm down. He's only fighting with one arm, so Batman's beating the hell out of him. And he easily pins Dick onto the ground and is given a gun by Talia. So Batman has a gun to Dick's head now. And Dick and Damien are trying to break Bruce free. And you can see Bruce struggling, which is so hard to watch too. Like making the grunt noises, and you can see him like trembling. And then Batman puts the gun up to his own head because you know he knows that he most likely can't break free of the trance, and like it's just better if he dies instead of being evil and being a slave. But then he does break free, obviously, and he shoots Talia's sword out of her hand as she's trying to kill them. And she's like cornered and circled by the Bat family, and she's just full villain in this movie.
Yeah, isn't that where she says like she never cared about Damien? She never like she's always wanted Bruce and stuff, but like,
It's just
it was a weird character turn
it
from what we've
is
seen her
it
in
came out of
before.
nowhere, really. There was
Yeah,
no
no
like lead up
payoff.
to it.
Yeah, no lead off, no payoff really.
And but she just throws an explosive at the window in the watchtower and just jumps out of the watchtower to escape, and she's caught by an aircraft, and then she gets into the controls of the plane to fly away. And then we see Onyx, which she actually didn't die earlier on, and she she's hiding in the plane and gets behind Talia and just kills Talia.
Oh, kills
And
Talia and
that
herself because then the whole ship explodes in
right,
the
because
ocean.
then
Yeah.
yeah, and because we know Onyx was mad at Talia for killing Heretic, because Onyx had feelings for him,
Which
apparently.
we could never have known, but at the same time, sure, I
Yeah,
guess. Like,
yeah. We just see that the cut to her when Talia kills Heretic. We do cut to Onyx, and we just get a short glimpse of her facial expression. But that was a really cool turn. I didn't expect them to just kill Talia just like that too. And yeah, I mean that's the end of that story. We just end the movie on the Bat family converging onto a bat signal, kind of like a post-credit scene type thing. And we see all five of them teaming up to take down a Penguin police chase. We see Penguin in a car just shooting at the cops. Just a random villain scenario for them to team up and end on a good note.
yeah,
And then
common bad.
yeah, and as they all take off, then we see a character come up behind them, not really behind them, but to where they were, and we see that it's Batgirl.
Which I
So
hated. I hated that so much.
you hated how she disappeared.
They showed her up at the end. I'm like, oh cool, we're gonna get Batgirl, and I don't care if I'm spoiling future shit. We don't see her again.
Do we not? I honestly can't
No, we
remember
don't.
that, but
I am 94% sure because I would have remembered if we saw. We might see
yeah,
Oracle again. I think we see or hear of Oracle, but we
oh
don't see
maybe.
Batgirl. And it's like, yeah, sure, we have all these characters in this
And
movie. Let's
Batgirl's
just
still
throw her
dope.
in. Yeah, I know. Barbara
She's
Gordon's awesome, but
like yeah, she's definitely one of the better Bat family members.
they should have had her instead of Batwoman. 100%.
Yeah, I agree, but yeah, I mean, that's hilarious though. That now we know that this universe wasn't like totally planned in advance. Like they were kind of just going one by one.
Yeah, they more or less like made a movie and then they're like, okay, what can we do for the next one? Let's keep it connected. So they,
Yeah,
but not like a
they
full
show
storyboard.
Batgirl.
Yeah,
Yeah, but and then they never end up actually paying off that.
yeah. I don't know.
They, I mean, to be fair, this universe is it's not it is a lot of movies, but each movie is not very long, and they're trying to do a lot in a little. So they're trying to expand the universe really fast.
They do better towards like the last few movies that we'll be
Yeah,
reviewing.
they do. They actually have a vision there at the end, but
Yeah. So yeah, that was Bad Blood.
and
I don't know what you think, Nick. So
I'm
yeah.
not gonna I'm not gonna break out into song again, but
Oh, thank God.
uh, like I think I said before, the Batman movies in this universe aren't my favorite. There's always something a little weird about them.
There's too much fucking Damien.
That definitely is a big a big reason why. But yeah, I don't know. It's crazy that I don't love these movies as much as I should. The
Yeah.
stories are always a little off,
I
and
mean,
it's
it
all
was.
the other movies are pretty great in this universe. Just the Batman ones. I am more harsh on Batman ones, but
I like again. This is another movie. Very fun to watch. A lot of cool characters. Wish we got to spend a little more time with it, but it's only about like an hour and a half runtime per movie. So maybe
yeah,
a character or two less, and then build a story from there. But no, it's a fun movie. I enjoyed it. Um, I wasn't a
I'll
fan of
never.
Talia, but at least this is the
Yeah,
last time we see her, so we're not going to continue with her weird arc, or I guess
yeah,
you know,
right. I mean, this does cap off the little Batman trilogy they have here in the beginning of this universe.
yeah. Then next we got Teen Titans coming up.
Oh, do we?
Ah,
Well, we're never gonna get a break from Damien.
I just Damien, Damien,
I
Damien.
do, I do remember liking the Teen Titans movies though. In this, I mean, we'll talk
Yeah,
about more when we get there. I mean, I just love the Teen Titans. Like, they're one of my favorite
yeah. I like
things
those
about
movies
the
a lot. I
DC
remember,
universe.
yeah, but yeah. I mean, I really don't have too much to say about this movie.
No, I mean, yeah,
We criticized it a lot in this, and we rolled our eyes at a
like we
lot of things,
do,
but
like we do a lot of the movies. Yeah,
I personally still enjoy it. I have no problem watching it again. Like it's if I want a fun action movie set in this universe, this is a good one.
yeah. I mean, I watched it when it came out, and this is the second time I watched it. I'm not a big rewatcher. Probably won't rewatch it again. There's just other Batman movies I'd rather watch,
Rather watch, but yeah.
like any of the Batman animated ones.
Yeah, but I mean, hey, that's all I got to say about this movie. So,
Yeah. I'll never complain about getting more Batman, but these Batman ones just don't do it for me.
yeah, I mean they start off strong, they get
Eh,
weird in the middle, then they get kind of just like, okay, sure, let's see where it ends.
they,
So,
yeah.
uh, well, yeah, that's all I got to say about it.
All right.
All right, thanks for
Later,
watching.
nerds.